Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, we are running through some of the most insane new cards that we have gotten in a while. Probably the best new archetype or deck we've gotten in a while. I'm talking about Centurion. This deck is really, really cool. The mechanic that it plays with. It's a really cool, like, kind of mid-range control-y deck. You're not usually OTKing with a deck like this, but you can outpace your opponent in terms of resources and get really grindy with it. And I really like the way the deck plays. It's not going to be for everyone, but I'm just warning you, this is going to be one of the best decks going forward by the time this product drops in the TCG. So I'm going to show you a couple combos. I think one of the coolest things about this deck is it has multiple one-card combos. Actually has 4 separate ones. So, there's a weird thing, right? So Stand-Up Centurion is one of your one-card combos, the field spell. Trudea is a one-card combo. Primera is a one-card combo. And Emblema of Oath is a one-card combo. It's important to keep in mind, though, this is a weird one-card combo where technically you need a discard early on in the combo, so it's kind of like a 1.5 card combo. But every time you do these lines, you make the in-archetype Synchro Legatia, which draws a card anyway. So it's technically a 1.5 card combo in terms of what you have to have requirement-wise in hand, but in terms of value, you make it up with a free draw throughout the play anyway. So it's really not a 1.5 card combo unless you like literally only have 1 card in hand. That's the only way it's an actual 1-card combo. But it's really cool. I'm going to show you the different routes you can take. I'm going to show you the field spell, Trudea, and Primera, what you do if you open just them by themselves. And I'm not going to show you Oath or Emblema because Emblema sets a Centurion spell or trap or places a Centurion monster into your spell and trap zone. So you can do either line. You can either place Trudea and just do a Trudea line, and it's the same exact thing as just opening Trudea pretty much. Or you can just stand up and then activate stand up and do the stand up line. So I'm not going to show you that one because it kind of just does the same exact thing as the other, but I do still want to show you those and then also talk about what you can do if you open 2 cards instead of like 2 like in archetype cards that work together instead of just the 1 card hand. So we're going to exit here. We're going to go to our replays. I'm going to find our sense. We're going to start with Primera. So this is the main Stratos of the deck. Really cool card. Stratos is the whole gimmick of the deck is they end up in the spell and trap zone as continuous traps specifically, which is important because that means they can quick effect special themselves during either player's turn. And but the cool restriction on them is they can only all be special summoned once per turn. So I think that's fair enough. But yeah, let's get into it. So starting off with Primera here, you're going to normal her. She's going to go ahead and search you the field spell. The field spell is amazing. It discards a card from hand to place any Centurion monster into your spell and trap zone as a trap. It can protect itself if you control a Centurion monster on the field from destruction. And when any monster is special summoned to the field, it immediately lets you synchro summon using a Centurion monster you control. That's all very good, but specifically that last effect is really good because that's how you synchro summon on the opponent's turn. And keep in mind, it doesn't say you have to summon a Centurion synchro. You just have to use a Centurion monster as material for the synchro. So it's pretty open-ended there. And I'll show you some of the different monsters you can kind of go for. So we're going to go ahead and discard off of stand-up. We're going to place Trudea. She's going to use her effect. She summons herself from spell and trap zone, and then she can on field place herself back into the spell and trap zone and another monster from deck. Unashable effect. Same thing with stand up. So the only ash target in the deck is Primera, which is really nice. So you're going to place it back and you're going to get Emmet, the level 8 extender. He's just a level 8 extender from the spell and trap zone, just like the others. And when he's in hand or grave on the opponent's turn, he can summon himself out as well. So really good extender for the deck. You're going to place him and then summon him immediately. We're going to go ahead and make the 12 Legatia. This card on summon can pop the highest attack point monster your opponent controls and draw you a card. That's non-targeting, by the way. And then on the end phase, you can place any non-synchro Centurion monster from your hand or grave back into the spell and trap zone. That matters because you need to replace the Primera you used to make this card back into the spell and trap zone, so that way you have access to a tuner on the opponent's turn. So we're going to continue on here. We're going to go ahead and get back the Primera. Then on the opponent's turn, when they try to do anything, we can use Primera and Trudea to summon themselves. You need to get Trudea out, by the way. This is a small thing. Because Emmett doesn't just summon himself for free. He has to summon himself from grave by placing a Centurion monster back into the spell and trap zone. So you need that extra monster to place back, and Trudea is going to help you grind anyway, so that's actually good. Because you don't want to put back Primera because it's your tuner. You need her on field. So you need to summon them both so that way you can put back Trudea. And then the Primera is still there for a tuner. So you're going to use the field spell. It's going to allow you to quick synchro. And we're just going to make another Legatia just to go ahead and show off, the tuner, this card again, because this card not only is a pop on the opponent's turn for their highest attack point monster, which is already just a decent interruption, but it's drawing you again. It's another draw. So for a deck where that maybe if you play pure, you're only playing 20-ish engine cards. If you have 15 to 20 defensive cards, hand traps, whatever, you've got a good chance at ripping a hand trap, especially when you've already done some of these combos. You've pulled 3-4 cards out of the main deck anyway, and so the odds of you hitting a hand trap are even better, and that's where the deck's going to thrive. And then you also have 7,000 damage on the field already. So not a deck that like pumps out OTKs if your opponent can kind of like play into you and remove your monsters, but if they don't stop you, you are 100% OTKing next turn, and that's a fact. So yeah, really cool. There's the basic line. I'm not gonna over explain too much else. Also, one more thing I missed here is Primera got to search again. Primera still searches when it's special, even on the opponent's turn. So I also grabbed Faith as a follow-up card. It just helps reset something from grave. And so there, like based off of these 2 turns, you drew 2 and got a follow-up card. In terms of like getting extra advantage anyway. Trudea is follow-up. Emmet 6 in the grave is a follow-up card as well. Just a lot of value, and that's basically what this deck wants to do. So there's our first combo. I'm going to just show you the other lines real quick. We're going to show Trudea next. It's going to be very similar. I'm not going to over-explain this one, but we'll just follow the line. So you normal Trudea, you use her effect to place her and Primera back. Primera's going to summon. She's going to search the field spell, of course. We activate the field spell, pitch the extra Trudea in hand to place Emmet. Emmet's going to summon. We're going to make the 12, and then same thing. 12's going to place back Primera on end phase, and go from there. I'm going to show you the different end board with this. We're doing the same thing though. We're specialing Trudea. We're specialing Primera. We're going to use Emmet to bounce put the Trudea back in scale or into spell and trap zone, and we're going to do the super broken line that everybody's going to be looking at abusing by making Crimson Dragon and then Crimson Dragon targeting Legatia to then cheat out Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. Now, by the time this archetype drops in the TCG, I'm very much hoping that one of these cards is banned, either Crimson Dragon or Calamity. I'd like to see Calamity just be gone. I think Crimson will eventually get banned too, but Calamity is already being used in a couple of decks in the TCG right now, and it's just a stupid win condition. So I hope this card doesn't come around, because I think one of the biggest things here is this is a control deck that's now making King Calamity, and it's doing it under Nib. I don't know if you kept track of summons on our turn 1, but we literally went summon this turn, summon Trudea, summon Primera, summon Emmet, make the 12. That's our turn 1, 4 summons. On our opponent's turn, we do 4 more summons and make Calamity. Completely under Nib, we are Calamitying our opponent. And we also do it under Droll. So good luck. So I really hope this stuff isn't here, because Nib and Droll don't stop you, and that's a travesty. So yeah, you can Calamity lock. I hope it's gone, but I figure I might as well show this, because if this stuff is around, it 100% will be part of the deck by the time this deck drops. So just so you know. So there's a Trudea line, and the last one here is going to be the stand-ups. This is just if you open stand-up and a discard. So also really good. And I believe, no, this line does need your normal summon, but it's fine. So stand-up pitch, get Primera. You have to go Primera first here. We're going to use Primera, search Trudea. Because we have our normal, we can normal her, get her and Emmet. Emmet's going to summon. We're going to make the 12, and yada yada. We're drawing a card. We're placing Primera back in spell and trap on end phase, and we're passing. This is probably the coolest end board part though, to show off here. So we're going to do the basic stuff. We're going to make a synchro, but the difference here is we're actually going to not summon Emmet to synchro with. We're going to summon Trudea and leave her when we synchro off, because she's a 4. Because I know I showed you 12s before, but you could totally just use Trudea and go for an 8 instead. The main difference is you don't end up with Trudea back in the spell and trap zone, so you don't have her ready to summon out on the next turn for free. So keep that in mind, but there are definitely going to be matchups where like there's an 8 that's just better than any of the 12s you can make, for sure. So yeah, we're also searching with Primera to get follow-up, but we're actually making Zorua, the Magistus Conflagrant Calamity. Really cool card. I also summoned Emmett at the end here by putting back Legatia. You do not have to do that, but I figured I might as well show it because that line didn't need him at all, but he's still there, so I wanted to remind people he was still there. If you do not know what Zorua does, when this card is summoned, it can attach any Magistus monster from your extra deck to him as an equip spell, and while he's equipped with any of the Magistus extra deck monsters, he is just a skill drain essentially for that type of monster. So I equip the Link, so if you're playing against a Link based deck, Unchained, any of the Cyber stacks, any deck that's just Link based, they are essentially skill drained from their Link monsters. They have a Fusion as well, a Synchro as well, and an Exceed as well. It's a cool thing to play, but the only concern with this package is if you play it, you may have to play all 5, and that's 5 out of your 15 extra deck slots, all going just to this package, and that can kind of be really bad depending on the matchup, right? If you play something that isn't super crucial on any of these things. But yeah, really cool thing. It's a really cool like play you can do. I think this card's fair enough. It is a floodgate, and that's scary, but the fact that this card gets turned off by any backer removal or monster removal, I think it's, or like monster negation, imperm, whatever, chalice, like I think this card's pretty answerable by a lot of stuff. But yeah, still a cool card to be able to potentially take advantage of in a deck like this. So those are the 3 combos. The last thing I want to do here real quick is just talk about the 2-card combo. I didn't show it off there because it's so simple, basically. So any of those combos where like, but maybe you opened, the only 2-card combo I think that doesn't work between the 4 cards I said were 1-card combos is exactly Trudea and Primera, because they both would need your normal summon, so the extra one kind of, you can't really make use of it in that way to make the board better. But if you open any other combination, so the 2 spells together or either of the spells with either of the monsters, is 2-card combo, and that's a little bit better because the board we end on loses to Cosmic Cyclone, loses to Evenly Match, because if they just Cosmic Primera when it tries to activate, you have no tuner, so you cannot synchro on their turn at all. You can put some monster on the board, you can still play for the grind game, but you're not interrupting your opponent at all, and we know how this game works. If you don't interrupt your opponent, it doesn't matter how much follow-up you're on, they will just take everything from you, or they will just kill you straight up that turn, straight up. So the 2-card combo is really nice because basically what you would do is if you open the quick play spell on top of one of the other 1-card combos, you basically just end your turn by setting one of the 2 traps. And the traps are low-key kind of nice. Phalanx is kind of like a Farfa type card. It's fine, but I think the big one is Truth. And I think this is why we'll probably play 1 Truth in the build no matter what, because Truth is just an Omni-Negate. You send a face-up monster card from your spell and trap zone to the grave, but considering you end up with Trudea back in your spell and trap zone anyway, that's not a huge problem. And it protects us from the Cosmic being an inopportune Cosmic. It protects us from unevenly matched, any of the other blowout cards that just might be really problematic. This card really helps us with, for sure. So that's really nice. And if you open the other 2-card combos that aren't Oath or Emblema, whatever you want to call it, basically what you do is if you already have Stand Up, right, which would be the other part of the 2-card combo, it means you just use your Primera search to get Truth. That's basically it, because you'd already have Stand Up. So Trudea would get you to Primera if you open Trudea plus the field spell, but because you have the field spell, you don't need to Primera for it, so you just get Truth. It's very simple, but it just lets you end on that extra Omni-Negate that makes your board much more resilient than it otherwise would have been. I think these combos really show off how good the deck is. I had a lot of people in my comment sections, even before Emblema came out, roasting this deck. This deck is so underwhelming. It's really not. I think this deck out the gate is going to be a juggernaut in the OCG. I really think so. I think it's going to immediately compete with like the Rescue Aces and the Tearlaments of the OCG immediately on drop. I really, really do. I'm going to make another video soon talking about all the really cool extra deck options this deck can mess around with, because it can really make uses of like 8s, 9s, 10s, and 12s pretty easily, and we'll talk more about that when we get there. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this deck because I think this is a really cool added deck to the game. We don't normally get like mid-rangey, control-y decks that like are strong enough to be high-tier competitive, but I think this one definitely fits that bill. That's it for me today, though. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know your thoughts down below on some of these combos. If there's anything else you would want to add in that maybe I missed combo-wise, or some other engines that maybe play in with the combo and like give you other options, I'd love to hear about that. These are just the basic 1-card and 2-card like lines that the deck presents already by itself. And look at this. This is like just the pure version. You have 12 starters already here. That's without terraforming. That's without Bonfire to search Trudea or Prosperity or anything like that. And we've got 23 open slots in the deck. You may not even play Phalanx, so maybe even 24 open slots in the deck. Like, this deck is crazy. It could be a control deck where you're able to play like legit 20 hand traps. I'm very, very curious to see how people attempt to play this deck early on in the OCG. I'm out of here for today, go. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff from me like this and more stuff on Centurion going forward. But I will see you guys in the next video with news, deck profiles, and otherwise. Peace. I love you.